This really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign. You could not have run a better campaign in that short period of time. And I think that's still true.
She was thrown into the deep end of the pool politically and hit all her marks and then some, and showed up for America.
With how Joy Reid and Mika Brzezinski are talking about the election results, you'd think VP Kamala Harris just narrowly lost the Electoral College, but still won the popular vote, when in reality, things could not have gone much worse for the Democrats and, more importantly, the marginalized communities that Donald Trump targeted throughout his campaign and will certainly target once he assumes office.
Many voters did not process January 6, 2021 as a grave moment in American democracy. And because of that, a lot of Republican voters are not turning on the character and conduct question.
Yeah.
How is that possible, though, Bob, when you look at those pictures? I think that's what many people are grappling with. You look at January 6th, he characterized it as a protest of love. He characterized it as patriots. Yet you're right when you say that is not how people saw that. How is that possible?
Look, we'll be the first ones to say that Trump's history and lack of character and morality should have been disqualifying factors enough from voting for him. But the fact of the matter is, people like him so much that none of it matters for some reason. And even if they don't like his personality, all of his baggage still wasn't enough to convince the general public that they should instead vote for Kamala Harris.
I will just note that it is probably not the best idea that Democrats orchestrated a very public stab fest, a proverbial stabbing in the front of the sitting president of the United States of America, and then didn't use him in his hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Black voters came through for Kamala Harris. White women voters did not. That is what it appears happened in that state. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way that they interact with the patriarchy.
If you think the party's supposed to move to the center, does it actually, or do you actually think that some of the folks who are seriously on the left say it was not left enough?
Well, they are going to say that because, my observation, they always say it, right? At least in recent years. But I don't think that's where the party's going to end up. I think this is a repudiation, in many respects, of the progressive side of the party, even though Harris herself did not run a Sanders-like or AOC-like campaign.
The inevitability of this actually looks as if it was there. I think the only bet that could have been done differently, and I don't even know how you do it because it's reproductive rights, but we were just talking about white women. This is the second time that Democrats bet the House on white women and suburban white women. And this is the second time they've been left at the altar by suburban white women.
Let's be absolutely blunt about it. There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country. And anybody who thinks that that did not in any way impact on the outcome of this race is wrong. I'm not saying that was the main reason that Kamala Harris lost and Donald Trump won.
As you can see, the spin factory is already going at full blast as liberals and Democratic Party operatives everywhere struggle to see the cold, dark truth staring back at them. Their main base of support has given up on them because they have refused to cater to the demands of the base. It is really that simple. Playing the blame game, especially immediately after the election, only feeds into the palpable hatred the public has toward the Democratic Party establishment and their allies in the media who refuse to see what's really going on. Do any of the excuses the media is putting out about Harris's campaign failure have any real weight? The reality is people's faith in the Democratic establishment is crumbling now. And just mere moments after being declared the winner, well, Donald Trump already has his sights set on squashing any chance at legal consequences for his January 6th crime.
Donald Trump said recently that he would fire Jack Smith, quote, within 2 seconds of taking office. Well, we found out that he may not have that opportunity. The reason is that the Department of Justice, where Jack Smith works, cannot prosecute a sitting president. Fox News is told that Jack Smith will be gone from his post as special counsel, meaning the cases will be gone before Trump takes the oath of office. Donald Trump's legal problems have essentially all gone away.
Smith could try to turn over the January 6th case to career prosecutors, maybe issue a report about his findings, but Trump, in all likelihood, would face no legal consequences. The classified documents case has already been dismissed. Now the special counsel's appeal to reinstate it would likely be withdrawn. Any trial now would have to wait until 2029. And Trump is scheduled to be sentenced here in New York later this month for falsifying business records. Even if that goes forward, it's hard to see how he faces any meaningful sentence now.
I do not see any way that this judge now sentences him to any kind of meaningful time. I don't see how he gives him any jail time at all.
In all likelihood, although it's untested, these cases, state and federal, go away at minimum while the president is in office, and then you deal with them afterwards. But the practical reality is, as you just said, Nate, the federal cases are going bye-bye. That's a Latin term for dismissed.
The election results are a harsh wake-up call for Democrats. The establishment's refusal to address the needs and frustrations of their base has finally caught up with them. You know, this isn't just a loss, it's a reckoning, and one that progressive voices like Bernie Sanders have warned about for years. If the Democratic Party wants to rebuild, it is time to start listening to the grassroots demands for real change and accountability.